Imagine you're sitting at a table. You feel good, nothing hurts, but inside you, thousands of old, poisoned cells are still alive. Even though they no longer work, they're not just useless, they're dangerous. They interfere with your brain's memory, your heart's steady rhythm, your immune system's ability to protect you, and you have no idea that it's already begun. This is how aging happens, slowly, silently, over years, and then suddenly. First you forget a name, then the way. Home. Then come the diagnoses. Diabetes, dementia, cancer, and it all seems like just age, genetics, fate. But in 2016, Japanese scientist Yoshinori Ohsumi proved that's a lie. We don't age because we must. We age because we prevent the body from cleansing itself. He received the Nobel Prize for discovering the mechanism of autophagy, the ability of cells to digest and recycle the waste accumulating inside us, used up proteins, damaged parts, dangerous virus fragments. All of this can disappear, but only if you give your body a chance. That chance is fasting, not suffering, not dieting, not giving up food forever, but a conscious eating rhythm that activates your body's self-cleaning and rejuvenation. If you care about your body and mind, subscribe to the channel Senior Vitality. Comment 1 if this gives you hope, and 0 if you're still uncertain. Your response gives us strength to keep going. Now, what exactly did Yoshinori Ohsumi see under the microscope, and why did the whole world fall silent after that? Didn't begin with loud statements or medicine, but with yeast. At first glance, what can we learn about humans by looking at single-celled organisms? But Yoshinori Ohsumi did exactly that. He placed yeast cells in a nutrient-deficient environment. He simulated starvation. He watched them through a microscope, over and over, and what he saw changed the understanding of cell biology. When cells lacked nutrients, they began to consume themselves, but not chaotically. They selectively removed their most damaged, worn-out parts. It wasn't destruction. It was restoration through cleansing. The stress of not eating activated an ancient survival mechanism, autophagy. This is how the cell gets rid of everything that prevents it from living, old proteins, broken mitochondria, even virus and bacteria remnants. It cleanses and renews itself, and it turns out the same process exists in the human body. But with constant eating, especially excessive, irregular, and late eating, autophagy doesn't activate. Cells keep accumulating damage. The elements of the self-recovery system shut down, and this leads to premature aging, inflammation, and chronic diseases. Ohsumi proved fasting is not destructive, it's healing. It's a light, controlled stress that activates processes in the body that modern lifestyles have shut down. That's exactly why he was awarded the Nobel Prize, because his discovery showed our bodies have a chance. But we ourselves block it every day with constant snacking, late dinners, and fear of skipping meals. But what happens when this mechanism activates in the human body? And is it true that it can extend life? Let me explain. What scientists first observed in yeast turned out to be the universal language of life. Autophagy exists in every cell of our body. It doesn't need pills, surgery, or intervention. It's an internal, built-in mechanism. But it only works under one condition: when the body isn't busy digesting food. When a person experiences a slight calorie deficit, cells begin to use internal resources. And first of all, they eliminate everything unnecessary: dead fragments, toxic waste, leftover inflammation. That's when the brain begins to function more clearly, immunity becomes cleaner, energy more stable, and that unique feeling of lightness appears, something you can't buy at a pharmacy. Modern science has confirmed autophagy plays a key role in protecting against age-related diseases. It prevents the buildup of debris in the brain associated with dementia. It lowers cancer risk by destroying unstable cellular fragments. It enhances the body's resistance, helping to fight viruses and inflammation. Moreover, during controlled fasting, a special gene called SIRT1 is activated, a gene responsible for longevity. It triggers DNA repair, normalizes metabolism, and even affects the regeneration of nerve tissue. But it's important to understand, autophagy is not a diet and not an extreme starvation challenge. If a person experiences prolonged and severe hunger, cells begin to break down. That's dangerous, not beneficial. That's why it's not about refusing food, but about having a rhythm of eating that gives the body time to recover. And that's what the system known today as intermittent fasting is based on. It gives the body breaks during which it restores itself. But do you know what the main enemy of autophagy is? It's not fat. It's not sugar. It's not age. It's the constantly open eating window. Let me explain what it is, and why narrowing it may be the most important decision of your life. What is an eating window, and why does narrowing it work? Imagine your body is a factory. During the day, it processes food, produces energy, and cleans waste. At night, it should rest, repair systems, and replenish supplies. But what happens if you force that factory to work non-stop day and night without breaks? Exactly. It breaks down. That's exactly what happens to our bodies when we eat for 12-16 hours a day, as most people do. Breakfast at 8 a.m., dinner at 9 p.m., snacks in between. Autophagy doesn't even have time to activate. Cells are full of waste, hormones are disrupted, organs are overworked. Science has confirmed this. Research conducted at the Salk Institute in San Diego showed narrowing the eating window, even with the same amount and calorie content of food, dramatically improves the body's functioning, especially in older adults. They sleep better, blood pressure normalizes, memory improves, inflammation disappears. Participants were divided into groups with different eating windows, 12 hours, 8, 6, and 4. The best results were seen in those who ate within 6 or even 4 hours a day. Why? It's all about circadian rhythms. In the morning, cortisol is produced, the hormone of activity and appetite. In the evening, melatonin is produced, the hormone of sleep and recovery. When we eat in the evening, especially after 6 p.m., we disrupt this rhythm. The brain doesn't recover, and the immune system weakens. Toxins are not being eliminated. But there's no need to jump straight into a 4-hour eating window. That would be too much stress. Start gradually. For example, stop eating after 6 p.m. Replace late dinners with fruits or vegetables. Have a hearty breakfast in the morning and lunch during the day. This isn't a diet. It's a life rhythm that activates autophagy. If you want your body to begin cleansing itself, write in the comments, "I'm entering the window." And don't forget to subscribe to the channel Senior Vitality. We're preparing the next video on fasting and autophagy for people over 60. Now I'll tell you how to switch to intermittent fasting without breaking yourself, but resetting. The biggest mistake people make when starting intermittent fasting is being too abrupt. They suddenly skip dinner, skip breakfast, and by the evening they're shaking from hunger, irritation, and weakness. They give up thinking, "This isn't for me." But it's not you. It's the approach. For autophagy to start working, you don't need to torture yourself. You need to give your body a chance to adapt. Everything begins with a soft transition. The first thing to change is dinner. Evening meals disrupt circadian rhythms, and that's when we eat the most, and often the worst. Start with something simple. Move dinner to an earlier time, then replace it with light vegetables, fruit, or herbal tea. Let your body rest at night, not digest food. Eventually, the evening hunger will disappear, along with insomnia, heaviness, and morning fatigue. The next step is building an eating window. The ideal setup: hearty breakfast. At 8 a.m. full lunch at 12 a.m. p.m. small meal at 4 p.m. After that, only water, green tea, or warm herbal infusions. No calories. No snacks. Just silence for the body. That's when the healing begins. This is not a diet. You don't have to count calories or give up your favorite foods. What matters is timing, consistency, and patience, and the results will speak for themselves. You wake up feeling lighter. You start thinking more clearly. Your blood pressure stabilizes, and most importantly, you feel in control. You are no longer controlled by food. You control it. You live in a rhythm that gives you strength. But intermittent fasting isn't the only path. Modern science speaks about it now, but back in the 19th century, one woman survived a stroke at a young age and drew conclusions that align with today's discoveries. Let me tell you about the dietary principles of Ellen White, a woman who lived when doctors said she won't survive. At 17 years old, Ellen White was diagnosed with a grave condition after a stroke. Doctors said she wouldn't live long. But not only did she survive, she lived another 60 years. And she did what her doctors could not. She changed her diet and lifestyle in a way that allowed her body to recover. Ellen began to study the connection between food, spirit, and health. And she realized something important. We create our own illnesses by not understanding how our body works. She studied medicine, observed people, analyzed what helped and what harmed. The first thing she changed was the frequency and volume of meals. Ellen began eating only twice a day, completely giving up dinner. She believed that evening meals harm digestion, prevent the brain from resting, ruin sleep, and poison the body. In her letters, she wrote, "You are tired because your stomach is tired. You are irritable because you've overeaten. You are sick because you don't know moderation." She taught people to chew slowly, leave long breaks between meals, and most importantly, listen to their bodies. The second principle was simplicity of diet. She recommended eating natural foods, grains, legumes, nuts, vegetables, fruits, without excess fats, without too much salt or sugar, with simple cooking, eaten in silence, understanding that food is not only fuel, but medicine. The third principle was mindfulness and moderation. No matter how healthy your food is, if you eat too much of it, it will harm you. Ellen explained, overeating causes fatigue, headaches, apathy, and inflammation. Better to eat less, but properly. Later, scientific studies confirmed her principles. People over 60 who ate plant-based, moderate meals and skipped dinner lived longer and got sick less often. But Ellen White wasn't a scientist. She was a regular person, just like us. And that makes her experience invaluable, because she proved knowledge and discipline are stronger than diagnosis. Now, the final and most important conclusion: everything you've heard only works if you start. We fear the word fasting. We think it means pain, deprivation, humiliation, but in reality, it's the key, not to survival, but to renewal. We don't age because we've lived too long. We age because we don't give the body a break to recover. Autophagy is not a trend. It's your body screaming for help every day. If you ignore it, it will go silent. But if you give it time, rhythm, and silence, it will begin to heal, step by step. No pills, no surgeries, no pain. Intermittent fasting is not deprivation. It's an opportunity to hear yourself, to regain control, to feel light again, to restore clarity of mind and energy in your body. If you've listened this far, you're ready. Write yes in the comments if you're ready to try. Subscribe to the Senior Vitality channels, so you don't miss the next video. And please, share this video with someone who feels like they're aging too fast.